Well, it's a very good morning. John Fradgley from the Bell Legal Group. I'm back with you for another program of The Law and You this Tuesday morning. It's your opportunity to get free legal advice. All we need you to do is get on the telephone. 55208888 is our number. That's 55208888. South of the Tweed River, of course, you need to put 07 in front of the number. And don't forget, if you're not in a position to call, you can always use our email, talkback@4crb.com, and I do have an email here that I'll be dealing with a little later on this morning. But we have someone who's been very quick out of the blocks this morning, so we say a very good morning to Margaret. G'day, Margaret. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, thank you, John.
How can I help you today?
I've got a small factory.
Mm-hmm.
I've rented out. The chap hasn't got a lease on it, so I know I haven't got a leg to stand on it. He owes me $10,500.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's moving out. He's told everyone. I've been over.
He's probably told everyone except you, I suppose, Margaret.
Yes, he has. He has.
That's not uncommon.
But anyhow, what I was wondering, if I could put a small debt rating on him or something like that.
Well, you can definitely issue proceedings against him to recover the money. So what I would be doing, do you hold a bond at all?
No, I don't.
Right, okay. So what you should do, Margaret, is if you feel able to do it yourself, you can issue proceedings for $10,500. You could do that through QCAT, the Queensland. Is it in Queensland?
Oh, yeah, Queensland.
Yeah, so the Queensland Civil and Administrative Tribunal. So you basically do that. You can download the forms online, or you can go to your nearest magistrates court, and they are in Coolangatta and Southport, where you'd be able to talk through with someone at the registry what needs to be done. If you need a little bit of assistance in doing it, you could either go to the or you could either get in touch with the Gold Coast Community Legal Centre and Advice Bureau. They're located in Southport, but they do have visited centres up and down the coast on various days of the week and the month. So their phone number is 55329611. 55329611, and they might be able to give you a bit of help with filling out filling out the form. Or alternatively, there's My Community Legal, which was previously known as the Robina Community Legal Centre, and that operates every Thursday evening in the Gold Coast City Council Robina Community Centre, just over the road on the western side from the shopping centre, and they operate from 6:30 to 8:30 on a Thursday evening. So if that's more convenient to you, well, you could go there and get a little bit of help off them as well. The biggest thing to do is probably to try and get those. Do you know when he's moving out?
Well, he's starting his new business in the beginning of January.
Right, okay, because the last thing you want to do is lose track of him.
I know where he's going.
Oh, okay.
He's really Mr. Nice Guy. I've been over to see him a few times. Oh, yes, I'll fix it up. Don't worry, Margaret. You'll be right.
Oh, he's a gunner, is he?
Yeah,
gonna do this and gonna do that. Yes, all right. Well, look,
they put
Margaret,
it over you when you're in your 90s.
Yeah, well, that's right. They think you're a bit of a soft touch, but what you need to do is get out and get some advice pretty quickly. And if you follow that process, or if you have a solicitor you work with, well, you could always put it in the solicitor's hand. But $10,500 is a very small amount, relatively speaking. I know it's a big amount for you, but the problem is that you don't want the legal costs to chew up the amount you're going to recover. So if you can possibly issue those proceedings yourself with assistance from either the Gold Coast Community Legal Centre and Advice Bureau, or alternatively My Community Legal, then you'll be down the track a reasonable distance.
Oh, right. That's very good of you, John. Thank you
Margaret.
very much for that.
No trouble
at all.
at all.
Have a Merry Christmas.
And you do the same. All the very best.
Then.
Bye now.
Bye.
And the time on 4CRB is just gone 10 minutes past 9, past 10 on the Tweed, as we say a very good morning to Keith. G'day, Keith. How are you today? Hello, Keith.
Hello, hello there, John. Look, it's Keith here.
How are you today, Keith?
Not going too badly, actually. Thank you at the moment.
Good on you.
I was just going to ask you what costs I'll be involved with. My brother passed away earlier this month, and naturally everything's going to me, like the houses here in tenants in common. How much am I expected to pay the solicitor to have all that transferred?
So is it in Queensland or New South Wales?
No, Queensland.
So you and your brother, your late brother, owned the property as tenants in common and equal shares?
Yeah, we did.
And
yes,
he's left that to you. What other assets does he have apart from the interest in the house?
Well, actually, everything was in joint names, even the car too.
So the car and the bank accounts, they're all in joint names?
They are.
Right.
Actually, I got signatures for them, yes, yeah.
Right, well...
I think the bank would know me because we're quite regular customers up there getting $50 here. And,
yes. So how much would your brother have had in his bank account?
Oh, he would have had about 40,000, I'd say.
All right. Well, look, what you're talking of there, Keith, it doesn't sound to me like you will need to get probate of his will, because in Queensland you can transmit the interest in a property to the beneficiary under the will without the need for probate. You can't do that in New South Wales. You must get probate. And with a bank account, if the car was in joint names, well, you just need to produce a copy of his death certificate and fill out the appropriate form. You don't need a roadworthy for the car to be put into your name. And then with the bank account, as a rule of thumb, where the bank account is less than $50,000, the bank will normally deal with that account in favour of the beneficiary without requiring probate. And if you're a customer of the same bank, what they'll do is they'll probably require you to give them an indemnity to say that in the event of any claim on your brother's estate, that you will indemnify them in consideration of them paying the money out without probate.
Oh, I see, yeah. And what about the house being transferred?
Well, the transmission of the house is relatively inexpensive. You're probably looking at around about, including the registration fee to the titles office, probably around about $650.
About $650 all up for the house to be transferred.
Yes. But that should not be done until you've dealt with the other assets, because when the transmission is lodged, you must lodge, if you haven't got probate of the will, you must lodge the original will with the transmission application, and the titles office will keep the original will. So you need to make sure all the other assets are sorted out, where you're going to need to produce the will before you actually lodge it with the
before I transfer the house.
Yes. So I would be suggesting that you get in touch with your solicitor, and they'd be able to help you through that process fairly easily.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much. So about 600, 650 or something like that.
Yeah, I would think around that figure.
Right, yeah. Thank you very much, John, for your help. You have a nice day.
And you do the same, Keith. All the very best. And the time on 4CRB is just coming up to 14 minutes past 9. That's, of course, past 10 on the Tweed. We'll be back after this word from our sponsor.
There are two things certain in a Gold Coast summer: regular afternoon storms and the high risk of skin cancer. Book a skin check at our sponsor Skin Alert Paradise Point on 5577 5533.
Hi everybody, my name's Dave Sawtell, holder of the world record for the longest golf drive wheelchair division. One of my goals in life is to help people achieve greatness in their own life.
Despite Dave's challenges, he has not and will not let his condition define him or stop him from achieving his dreams. Dave is a motivational speaker and life coach. Meet him at Crema Espresso at the Pines, Eleanor on a Monday or Friday morning between 9 and 11 for a free coffee and see if he can help unlock your potential.
Don't let your beautiful home be your dungeon. Call 4CRB on 5520 8888 and see if we can improve our lives together.
And this is the Law and You on 4CRB. Our telephone number 55208888. That number again 55208888. At the moment we have no callers online, so if you have a question or a query and you would like an answer to it on air, give us a call right now, 55208888. In the meantime, I did mention earlier that we'd received an email, and this is from Annette, who says, my 90-year-old aunt recently moved into an aged care facility Before moving into the facility, she completed an enduring power of attorney short form, appointing me to make personal and financial decisions on her behalf with immediate effect and no set terms. Recently, due to a problem with activating her new debit card, I visited the bank for their assistance. As my aunt was unable to attend the bank with me, I produced the original copy of the enduring power of attorney form to a staff member. I was told the bank could not accept the enduring power of attorney and that I could not lodge the document with them unless my aunt was with me and they could verify her identity and personally ask her whether she gave her approval to lodge the enduring power of attorney with them. Is this correct? Did the bank have the legal right to refuse to deal with me as my aunt's nominated attorney? Well, look, unfortunately, Annette, this is becoming a big problem, and it's not all the bank's fault, sadly, because as you would have seen with the recent inquiries into elder abuse, etc., the banks are increasingly aware of people using powers of attorney for fraudulent purposes and not in compliance with the terms. One of the major reasons for this is that unfortunately Australia does not have a register of powers of attorney where the bank would be able to make an inquiry to make sure that that is in fact the current registered power of attorney. I've had this happen to me as well as attorney for clients where I went into a local branch of a bank to register a power of attorney, and I was told that they would not register the power of attorney unless the other attorney was present when the power of attorney was lodged for recording. And I said to them, well, how could the other attorney come in with me, for example, if they lived in Weipa? I mean, it would be physically impossible for the other attorney to be present at the bank at the same time. And anyway, the long and short, the way I managed to cure the problem was to go to another branch of the bank where I had a relationship with a number of people on the staff, and I suppose being a solicitor, they were more relaxed about accepting the power of attorney. In circumstances where your aunt has lost capacity and there's a letter from the doctor saying that that your aunt no longer has capacity and that the power of attorney should be enlivened, the banks seem to be more willing to accept the document. However, the banks are entitled to set the terms under which they will, in fact, accept or decline the registration of a power of attorney or the recording of a power of attorney. And so it may be that, unfortunately, the only way you're going to overcome your problem will be to take your aunt in there. The only other thing I could suggest you do would be to ask the bank whether, if the power of attorney was registered with the titles office, whether they would then accept it, because it is in fact on the titles office register. But that, of course, doesn't mean that power of attorney could not have been fraudulently registered on the in the titles office, because the titles office don't do any additional checks other than accepting the application for registration along with the original of the power of attorney document. So that just might be a question to ask them, whether if the power of attorney is actually registered, whether that will overcome the problem. Unfortunately, that's then going to involve you in a registration fee of about $170. But the only other thing that I could think that you could do would be perhaps to speak to the Commonwealth Ombudsman's office, who I think may also deal with financial complaints, and they may be able to assist you, because the banks come under, of course, Commonwealth legislation. But I hope that's of some assistance to you anyway, Annette, and you can overcome that problem. But we have another caller online. As we say, a very good morning to Thomas. G'day, Thomas. How are you today?
Good morning, John. How are you?
Very well.
Thank you.
Very well. How can I help?
I'm ringing about art unions. You know, if you go, say, into a shopping centre and there's selling art union tickets, etc., and you say, oh, yes, I'll buy 5 tickets, and they say, oh, no cash, credit card number only. Okay, well, that's fine. But the problem that we've just experienced is that a new art union has just started another art union complex thing, and we received in the mail, these are your tickets for the new art union. Mm-hmm. So in other words, because they had our credit card number, they just automatically sent us another lot of tickets. Is that legally okay?
No, it's not. The only way they can do that is if they've had you sign something which says that you're down for automatic tickets in all future art unions. So, and if you did unwittingly sign something to that effect, then you certainly should be able to cancel it as well.
I think we might have been unwitting because on the occasion we did have to sign a form.
Yep.
And I think it might have been in the small print and we didn't see it.
They're masters of sneaking those things into the small print, unfortunately, Thomas. So I suspect that's what happened, particularly if it's one of the more well-known art unions. I've seen that before in the ticketing that they send out when you receive those letters in the mail with a glossy brochure of a beautiful home you can win, and you can tick a box there to get tickets, and there's also a box you can tick that says you'll automatically receive tickets for every new art union they bring out. Yes. It may be in the shopping centre they got you to sign something like that at the time. So I would suggest that you get onto them if you don't want tickets in all future art unions and tell them to cancel that, and that you didn't understand that you were giving authority for that to be done.
Okay. No worries. Thanks, John.
Okay, then, Thomas, all the very best with that. And the time on 4CRB just coming up to 22 and a half minutes past 9, past 10 on the Tweed. One thing we've spoken about from time to time, and I must confess that I was going on old recollections of my own personal circumstances, but that is where you have someone coming into your home to carry out services for you. For example, if you have a cleaner who's coming and or a person who does your yard or whatever, and they fall over and want compensation. In Queensland, my recollection on this previously, and I think from memory it's certainly what I've always said to people, that they should check with their insurance company to make sure that any workers coming onto their property are in fact covered. But there's just been a recent thing come out that in Queensland, the only way to cover for this now is under a household workers insurance policy. And these in Queensland can only be obtained through work cover, which is the Queensland Householders Workers Insurance Policy. It costs $50 for a 2-year term. The current insurance term is going to run out on 31 December 2020. I would assume that you could get a policy starting from 1 January 2020, running for 2 years, but it covers you against potential compensation costs if someone working for you at your home is injured whilst doing so. Now, obviously, household workers include cleaners and nannies and babysitters and gardeners and handymen and the in-home carers, all those sorts of people. But the thing you need to be careful of is that many people think that if you have engaged someone who's a sole trader or a contractor that has an ABN, they're operating their own business, that they're covered under their own insurance. But in fact, they may also be classed as household workers. So it's a good idea to check with your insurance company to see whether it, particularly in Queensland, whether it does cover workers who are coming in to do that work, and ask them whether you should have a policy under the house, or have a household workers insurance policy issued through Work Cover Queensland. And for $50, it's for a 2-year premium. It's certainly worth a peace of mind to do that. Now, the situation in New South Wales is a little bit different, and the government in New South Wales has designated insurers operating in New South Wales who can provide this sort of cover. So you should check with your insurer in New South Wales to see whether they are one of the New South Wales government's designated insurers for domestic cover of this kind. But obviously it's worth the peace of mind to make sure that you've got that sort of cover in place, and that it will cover you in the unfortunate event that something like that happens. So just bear that in mind. We'll be back after this word from our sponsor.
Great deals on home appliances, plus bonus gift cards at Harvey Norman. Shop our latest catalogue and receive bonus Harvey Norman gift cards on a huge range of small appliances. Up to $100 on vacuums, up to $200 on coffee machines, bonus gift cards on washers and air conditioners, up to $250 on ovens, up to $400 on fridges. Great deals across home appliances, plus bonus gift cards on selected products priced from $200. Conditions apply. See store for details. Limited time only at Harvey Norman.
Our sponsor.
Caring for an elderly family member is a labour of love, and it's okay to take a break. Anglicare has many lifestyle and wellbeing respite programs in Southport and Robina. Call Anglicare Gold Coast, our sponsor, on 1300 610 610 and ask for Rachel Montgomery or Glenda Holton.
And this is the Law and You on 4CRB. The time is coming up to 27 minutes past 9. We have Ian on the line. It'll have to be a quick call, Ian. How can I help you today?
Very simple. Listening to you about insurers for people working in a place.
Yep.
What's the situation if somebody's working without being paid?
So they're they're doing voluntary work.
Yes.
It'll depend on where they're working and what they're doing, Ian.
I'll give you an example. Suppose I elect to go and help a neighbour with his ladder and doing a bit of work on the house, painting or whatever. I'm just, being friendly. I'm not being paid. Or the reverse, if somebody came to me. Is there any liability for the householder if I hurt myself or the person helping me helps himself on my premises?
Well, if there's negligence involved in the injury, then yes, there may be liability. What I would suggest you do in those circumstances is just speak to your house insurance provider. A lot of policies for home insurance also have what is called you have public risk insurance, but a lot of policies also have what is called personal liability cover. And it might be worthwhile just speaking to your insurer to see whether your policy does have a personal liability component, and that can sometimes cover things like your dog biting someone and things like that. But as I understand it, it does cover you generally for anything where you will be publicly liable, personally liable. So just check with them, with your insurer in relation to that, to see whether it would be covered, particularly if it's simply helping out a neighbour, whether it would be covered by the public risk insurance, or alternatively, if not, whether it would be covered by a personal liability component in the insurance.
So what you're really saying is it's not clear.
It isn't clear, no, and unfortunately it's becoming less clear, and particularly as society is becoming more litigious, Ian.
Yes, indeed.
You just need to be absolutely sure to make sure that you're covered.
To be blunt, that's primarily why I do almost everything I can myself.
Yes.
I almost never employ anybody.
Yes, no, well, that's right. Although that policy I was talking about there a moment ago, the offered through Queensland, the home workers insurance, which is only $50 for every 2 years, I think that's pretty cheap. Peace of mind, quite frankly. So if you're in Queensland, I'd be looking at that. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for everyone to consider having a policy like that.
So that merely covers anybody working at your premises?
Yes.
My own premises?
Yes.
It doesn't cover me working on my neighbour's premises? No,
it doesn't. So you'd have to make sure if you're helping a neighbour out that he's got similar insurance.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
All right then?
Okay.
Okay, all the very best. Now, we still have Anne online. Sorry, Anne, but unfortunately we'll have to hold your call, and I'll take that off air as we're just pressing up to the news. This is John Fradgley from the Bell Legal Group. It's been great to be with you this morning. Thank you to all the people who've called. I'll look forward to being back with you again next week, but until then, goodbye and God bless.